All righty. I'll call the order to the organizational meeting of the East Grand Forks Economic Development Authority. It's noon on January 22nd, 2025. Please call roll.
Morgan.
Here.
Washnitzky.
Here.
Helms.
Here.
Black.
Here.
Heck.
Here.
Stye.
Here.
We have a quorum. The first thing that I'll do is I'll just have Mr. Puchvinsky stand up and we'll do the oath. You can repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ben Puchvinsky,
Hereby accept the duties
hereby accept the duties
as a member of the East Grand Forks Economic Development Authority
as a member of the East Grand Forks Economic Development Authority
and do solemnly swear
and do solemnly swear
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
State of Minnesota,
State of Minnesota,
and faithfully perform and discharge
and faithfully perform and discharge
the duties of an Economic Development Commissioner
the duties of an Economic Development Commissioner
for the City of East Grand
for the
Forks,
City of East Grand Forks,
County of Polk,
County of Polk,
State of Minnesota,
State of Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. I just need you to sign. That's red.
There's some about it.
There we go.
Thank you.
It does change every few years.
Thank you, sir.
It's official now.
Perfect.
Sign that one and then keep that. All right, thank you. Congratulations. I'm looking forward to working with you, Ben. The next order of business will be the election of the EDA president, vice president, and a secretary. First, we'll have the president, and I would just ask if there's any nominations.
I'll nominate Josh Grindy.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any other nominations? Seeing none, motion would be closed. Do I have a motion to close nominations?
I'll motion to close the nominations.
Nominations closed by Mr. Horkin. Second?
Second.
By Mr. Hecht. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Sorry. Horkin.
Yes.
Pochovinsky.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Stye.
Yes.
Congratulations, Josh.
Is he out of town?
He's at a dental appointment.
Oh,
He
okay.
had an emergency dental appointment. Since Josh isn't here, I'll go ahead and we'll go to the vice president. If I can ask for a motion to open up the nominations for vice president.
Move.
First by Helms, second by Black. Do we have any motions?
I'll nominate Daniel Black.
I'll second it.
Any additional motions or nominations? Ask that the nominations be closed. Motion to close nominations.
I'll move.
Moved by Helms.
Second.
Second by Horkin. Please call vote roll.
Horkin.
Yes.
Pochovinsky.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Black.
Yeah.
Heck.
Yes.
Stye.
Yes.
Congratulations one more time. And as
Good
long as
job.
I'm just doing this, I'll just ask for the Secretary of the Economic Development Authority if we could have a motion for nomination.
So with the secretary, is that the one that, there was one officer that we have, is not a board member, right?
Isn't that the
That's me.
treasurer?
Or is that the treasurer?
That's the treasurer.
Yes. That's me.
Okay,
Carla.
all right. I just want to make, I couldn't remember.
Yep, no problem.
I'll nominate Penny.
What do I got to do?
You're secretary right now anyways.
You're doing it.
Essentially, there's just signatures and such that could possibly happen.
Okay.
Some of the-
I think Brenda and
Do I have any, do I have a
most everything
second?
you just.
If you need me, just let me know what you need.
Second.
Okay.
Second by Black. Motion to close the nominations?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
So moved. Please call roll.
Horkin.
Yes.
Pochovinsky.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Stye.
Yes.
That ends the organizational meeting. Can we get a motion to close the organizational?
I'll move. Second.
First by Helms, second by Black. Please call roll.
Horkin,
Yes.
Pachivinsky,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Stye.
Yes.
All right, since Mr. Grindy's not here, we'll
Okay.
have Mr. Black
Here's
conduct
your
the regular meeting.
cheat sheet.
Thank you.
Yeah, you get a duty.
Yeah, well, that's why I was wondering Okay. I'm just looking where we're at here. So we just need to, so do we need to start the opening meeting?
Yeah, we have to
Yeah.
open this meeting now.
Okay, if you can go ahead and call roll for the meeting.
Okay. Horkin,
Here.
Pachivinsky,
Here.
Helms,
Here.
Black,
Here.
Heck,
Here.
Stye.
Here.
Have a quorum?
Forum, so we'll go on to approval of minutes from the December meeting.
I'll move approval.
Moved by Horton. Second. Second by Heck. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing nothing? They're approved. Bills and communication. So review accounts payable for December 3rd, December 17th, January 7th, and January 21st. Anybody have a motion?
I had a question. So the social media all gets paid, look like for last year, up through January. Is that contract complete now?
It is, yes.
That's done? Okay. Okay. That was all I had.
And the postings now are being done by Brenda.
Yep, I knew that. I just saw that big
Yes.
chunk go out and I thought, okay, I didn't know that it got paid like that. I thought it was monthly or something. So, okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions, any discussions? We have a motion for approval.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none. Bills and communication, that's approved. Moving on here, reports, delinquency update.
There are no delinquencies.
Awesome. And then moving on, next, director's report.
So it comes after the executive summaries in the packet, but it just kind of breaks down day by day the different businesses or individuals I've met with. For anonymity, I didn't list the names of them, but more or less the industry. And then I kind of broke it up into like impactful ones for the community and then goals and ideas and stuff. I don't know if this is helpful or if you want to see something different with these, but let me know. I don't know if this provides some sort of useful tool. And then I also include on it the different projects that I'm working on and different things that I've learned about, so. Anyway.
Is there,
Have any questions?
is there a way, like, when you talk about maybe the software update, is there a way that will spit out a report monthly, do you
Yeah,
think?
so in the HubSpot one, it definitely can show some really complex reports, including like economic impact. One that was most notable was if there's a key term that keeps coming up in visits, it can kind of produce a report that shows the impact of that issue, which I would love because I've met with different people and I've come up with about 20 different ones, but that's only like based on my own internal knowledge. So if a program can do that, it would be more useful.
So the program would provide like a data analysis essentially of
Yeah.
what you've been looking at and what you've compiled.
Yep.
So maybe that's what we move to in the future, if that provides that.
Yeah, and I can always do an overlap for a little bit. So if you're like, this has more information and the director's report has more information, or to see if there's like redundancies.
I'm not against that idea. The only thing that I find with data analytics is
Yeah.
it's as good as the data that you put in, but only as good as the people who are reviewing it that have an understanding too. So, I mean, as long as it's not something that we're just going in blind and saying, yeah, we can do this. I mean, it takes a little bit of like looking through stuff, and with the knowledge that we have, I don't think that's a bad idea. So,
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions for the director, for the executive report?
So with the Air Force Base, I see you made some visits and delivered some brochures like Northrop Grumman and stuff out there.
I emailed them because I have
Okay.
contacts at
Okay.
the public outreach person, Leah Green, and I know Mike Friedhoffs personally. He's also our city council rep for where I live. So both of them were super on board and willing to take the brochures electronically, and I offered printed ones too if they want.
I know the Fairfield's taking advantage of having some military presence.
Yeah.
They're doing some rooms here locally, and I don't know if, I mean, it's essentially, if we read in the paper, there's going to be an extra 500 to 700 people here. Hopefully, Restaurant Row, Penny, that directly affects. I don't know if there's other opportunities that are going to present itself to that, but I know for my company that we're dealing with a lack of
Yeah.
hotel space in town because we have guys that travel here and stay, and that's going to be an issue. So I don't know. Hopefully, we can take advantage of some of that housing and be able to rid ourselves, maybe,
Yeah.
or something.
I mentioned in the brochure specifically the veteran benefits in the state, so that way it kind of like sticks in their mind as something to look into for moving here.
Good.
I guess not knowing, are the veterans benefits for the state of Minnesota better than, are there more advantages for them in Minnesota than are in North Dakota? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I haven't done any for North Dakota. I only looked into it for this state.
I guess I didn't really.
Grand Forks is lacking on inventory right now.
Well, that too.
Besides,
I saw
Yeah.
that.
there's some on the far south end, but otherwise, the inventory over there for new construction is very low. So
I see the ad or the sign you have on the big billboard there, 220. Is that the only place that's on, or is there another one anywhere?
It's showing in East Grand Forks, but I'm not sure who posted that.
I can elaborate on that. That's with Newman signs, the billboard. Those are being run in Grand Forks right now as well. Any of the,
I haven't seen it,
yeah.
but I just wondered if they were.
yeah, any of the electronic displays that are in Grand Forks, it's showing there. That's part of the agreement with the new billboard that will end up in Sherlock Park next spring now. Basically, until that board is up and active, to fulfill the agreement that we would have a certain number of ad spaces, they're mixing us into wherever Newman has electronic signs. Right now, they're located specifically in Grand Forks and East Grand Forks, but throughout the past year, we've had displays all over their region, Jamestown, Fargo, Devil's Lake, for different events or lots available for purchase.
great.
Awesome. Any other questions on the director's report before we move on to the financials? Hearing nothing. Moving on to financial reports. Anybody have any questions on financials?
Just a couple of comments.
Sure, if you got some comments. go ahead.
Yep, so November and December are in the packet, and then the cash is in the packet right here in front of us. And if you look at the December cash, this is what the balances are so far. There will be a few changes, but not a lot. Depreciation hasn't been done for year end, and if there's any accounts payable that come up in the next, in January and in February. And just a note that in the EDA General Fund, Fund 620, the transfer was already done. So we transferred $246,463.51. We had budgeted for $227,684.58, and the difference is the severance that was to Mr. Gordy. And there, of course, there was other changes that we didn't spend here, but that was the bulk of the difference there, just so everybody knows that. And then the other funds are loan funds. Like I said, Fund 630 Sunshine Terrace and Fund 682 infill building, we have not done depreciation, and there will be accounts payable, we know for sure, like utilities and those items. So we will have those to you when the audit is completed. And the auditors will be here at the end of March. Any questions?
Don't hear any questions. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. Next one here, AE2S 2024 report on social media.
So it's the one that's all in lots of colors. They provided just a comprehensive year-end look at how the social media performed underneath their billing. It looked like Penny had one of the top posts in April. And it's
Good job, Penny.
doing really well.
Just for that, you get to do another one.
Our reach did really well with, I guess when you guys were looking to announce the hiring for this position, that post went out above about 1,200 or so in terms of the reach in July. And then we had two posts that did very well in the beginning of the year and the end of the year. One was the Diane Blair appreciation post, and then the other one was during the Entrepreneurship Week, and this was with my help, we did a post that covered Wicked Bean and kind of their story. So it was exciting to see because it kind of validated for me what the community wanted to see in terms of social media. And the posts that have been performing and did perform very well were the ones that spotlighted businesses.
I like that a lot.
Me too, it made me
Putting a
happy.
face on it and,
Yeah.
and talking. I saw the one for Mike's and for the dental and different things. I think it's great.
Give you an update on that too. It has been insane. So Brenda has posted 3 posts, and first one was Justin, second one was Mike's Pizza, and third one that just went out on Monday was Red River Dental. 3 of those in the past 28 days have yielded 20,000 views, which is more than AE2S.
That's what I was like.
The reach has been 7,600. We've added 44 followers in 28 days, and the amount of interactions have been 843, which means people are sharing it and liking it. We've been seeing shares up to 17 per post. People are commenting on it, so it's really gaining traction, and I think it shows that we have awesome businesses in this community, and that's what people want to see. And it will also help, too, so if you're on the other side of the river, you're coming into town, and you're like, oh, I think I saw on this post there's a pizza place or there's a movie theater, like they can see it, they can find the address, they can find the contact information. So it's awesome advertising for our businesses.
Brenda's able to do that? I mean, that was a concern initially with time. Is that
Right.
okay?
So it seems like it's okay to just do the one post a week, and I haven't heard any complaints yet. She's just ecstatic how they're performing so well.
Good.
Before we go on, I just got an email or a text that indicated that our microphones are picking up on somebody clicking or people clicking pens. And
It's me typing.
And could be. I'm just saying, I'm just bringing it forward. And I didn't notice anybody, and it's usually me.
Okay.
Somebody's watching us, yeah. Somebody's watching us.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Somebody actually watching.
So, anybody have any other questions on the social media stuff? I think spotlighting our businesses is huge. So
Yeah.
I know just from talking to people around here, it's some people who are new are finding out that there's a lot of stuff that's actually here in a lot of restaurants. So I think it's good.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are owner-operated, too, in East Grand Forks. And so when you put that picture on, they recognize, they walk into the business and they see the owner there. And I think it really, when you put a spotlight on it, it really draws attention to that.
That's what people like to see at any business. Seriously, they like to see the owner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you got a business and somebody else is running it, they never see the owner. It just doesn't stick in their head.
Yep.
You know, it's a big thing to
It is.
see that owner.
Yeah, and we don't have a lot of franchises in East Grand Forks. Most of us is owner-operated. And I think it's very personal here.
All right. Just moving on here into unfinished business. So the marketing plan.
Okay, so there were 2 options we could. Okay, there are 2 options we can go with, and the third one being nothing at all. But the first one was, if you look in the executive summaries, there's a large chart, and it breaks down some possible ways to use the $4,800 that I believe were earmarked for AE2S if we were going to go with that, but if we took it in-house, here would be some ways that we could break it down to use potentially effectively. I tried to look for options that are outside of our community largely because we already know we're awesome and amazing. So rather than creating that echo chamber, I thought if we're trying to pull in more businesses and recruit more people to live here and develop our school system, perhaps using that Google AdWord option to advertise outside. So we can advertise to fill our industrial parks and our empty building, maybe even the boardwalk. We can use that feature. I did check with AE2S. They can effectively handle that campaign. Google AdWords is an awesome thing. It's just very complex. I've done it before, but I can always use assistance. And if somebody is skilled in it, I will happily lean on that too if you want to take it in-house. The other ones is supporting kind of our local media organization. So using some money to advertise just our local economy and supporting our ecosystem here, maybe through the Herald, the Exponent, and the Chamber. And then we have an annual Chamber listing that's $470 through the Chamber directory, and so I just marked that down. And then on Facebook, I thought, since so many people are using it, we could earmark about $100 for 2 campaigns to just boost maybe some content that's something important that might come up in the future. And let's see here. Facebook is free. We can do tons of letters to the editor, which are free. I'm going to send out a press release here. Again, that's no cost. Grand Forks Best Source offered to have me on Spotlight again, so I can always go on air and talk about the great things we have going on here. And then the last one is printed marketing materials. So we could print off our residential lots brochure, the industrial park one-pager. I also designed a couple stickers. So if we just have a couple tangible marketing pieces that we can leave with people, then that's a helpful part of marketing. So there's that option to go with this kind of breakdown, however you want to mix and match it. And then the other option is if you say we want to take that $4,800 and just plug it directly into our CRM cost, that could help offset some of that. So it's up to you what you'd like to do.
What's your take on the value of, I think the Google AdWords campaign is great, but the problems I see with it is we don't have any industrial park space right now. Mm-hmm. We don't necessarily, we do have some empty buildings and lots, but do we have a plan for what to do with that? Would that make sense right now?
Developing content and then having campaigns for it.
Right, more so than just, I can search empty lots in East Grand Forks, but I don't know where to go after that.
Right.
Does that make sense? Or
yeah, and we'd have to break down something and then encompass all the buildings and spots too that are not even listed, because I know that there's some in town that people want to sell, but they haven't advertised it. So that would be a side project for that to get it up and running. But you're right.
That was, my concern is that one looked like it would be, because you'd have to do all of that stuff, just the allotted cost there.
Yeah.
There's also going to be a lot of time that's going to have to be spent, and it's going to be kind of a large time allotment to get that done
ready
correctly and make it meaningful.
Yeah.
I don't know and I don't think that's reflected in the dollar amount that's there at that point in time, because I agree, there's not a lot of industrial park space that we have.
Okay, or we can always change it to something else.
What could we change it to, I guess?
Maybe we could do just a general campaign that's move to East Grand Forks. It's just a high level, quality of life, recreation activities, supporting local.
I think with the jobs that are coming at Grand Sky, that would be probably more beneficial to focus on right now.
Like housing?
Something like that, what she's
Yeah.
saying too about quality of life in East Grand Forks and different things. I don't think we have a really good plan right now for commercial space or anything. As far as what we're talking about, we don't have the commercial space available, so why advertise it? Do we want businesses here? Absolutely, but is even an advertisement or marketing that, is that how you're going to bring a business?
Likely
I kind of
not.
question. I mean, most of those people are pretty thorough on where they know they want to be and looking for what's available, where if they see an ad, it's not just going to, I don't think, drive them to, oh, maybe there's something in East Grand Forks I haven't looked at. I mean, if you're looking at opening a business or looking for buildings or space, most of those people are pretty thorough on what they're looking for and what they want. So I think some type of a marketing, if we are going to put that money towards a marketing budget, I think the dollars best used right now are going to be used towards bringing residents to town with jobs that are going to be starting to come.
Or use our entertainment industry that is already here, getting more people downtown, paying sales tax.
I like all I question the Google campaign there and that money allotted. I like all the other stuff that's in that part, but I was curious on, could we use that cost allowance there that we were talking about for the CRM portion down there? Because to me, it looks like if we invest in that CRM portion, it's going to provide a web page to house all the relevant information. Like, it's going to do some of that for us. And maybe we can that would help us kind of develop a bit more of a plan, was my thinking. And kind of make an investment in that.
That's valid, and I believe the website includes Google Analytics. So it'll tell you where people are coming from, how long they're staying on the page, what they're looking at.
That would be huge for helping us to direct this maybe in the future, if we can get that kind of information. I think I like the other stuff for, the Herald ads, the chamber listing, the Facebook post, like 2 campaigns. I mean, I'd be okay with maybe the boosting that and maybe making it 3 campaigns if we needed it and budgeting for that. But maybe kind of splitting up what we're talking about, and maybe instead of a all or nothing kind of thing, we take some of the money from here and invest in to offset the cost on that CRM. I don't know if anybody likes that idea or if that's a consideration. Unless the lawyer says we can't do it.
Is our goal to hit more outside of town, or like the Grand Forks community or Air Force Base or Thief River? I mean, are we looking to pull people into East Side? Is that kind of
For
where
which
are the
one?
outreach? Well, just
Are we talking about like Facebook ones? Because that would be probably more kind of community,
like community around.
like an arm's reach almost, because then that's pushing that shop local, making almost like supporting local just second nature. If you're talking about for the AdWords, that was more of like an outside kind of outreach beyond this community. So like beyond even like our upper Midwest, reaching out to like competitor neighborhoods such as something maybe in Colorado, something maybe like in Oklahoma. Because when we did the Hive one, we looked at the communities that had parallel industries who were also branching out into UAS, and we said, okay, we're going to do basically advertising there to pull people in. So
Into our
something that kind
area.
of fits that similar market that we're looking for.
I think what's tough about that too is that you don't know where the people are coming from. So you don't know what they're looking at or where they're looking at something. Especially if a lot of those jobs are coming from, people are coming from further away, we have to try to figure out how to get marketing to them when they're here, looking at housing or looking at something before they move here.
Yeah.
Because if they're coming from further away, how do we reach them when they're outside of a reach, even like Facebook? The only way you're going to reach them on Facebook through an ad is if they're actually going to East Grand Forks' pages or something, because otherwise your area isn't going to be large enough.
Well, that's kind of what I liked about the CRM, was giving us reports and information to help us make decisions on where to better target for that marketing. That was my only thing. And
I would agree that would be probably a better spot to place that money for now. With a little bit of, maybe a little bit of reach through, I think the chamber, certain business people maybe coming to town or moving or whatnot, or maybe will access the chamber, where that would probably be a good spot to put some dollars. Local paper and stuff too, but.
I think the other thing that I was just thinking about is there's a lot of different recruiting going on for the different hospitals, whether it's in Grand Forks or Crookston, and maybe it'd be beneficial to reach out to them, because my wife is, obviously she's real estate, but she's been doing a considerable amount of community tours for the different medical facilities in Grand Forks and Crookston right now, because they're potentially bringing in different higher-level doctors and looking forward to it. So reaching out to those types of industries as well, just regarding more information on East Grand Forks is something that you may want to consider as well.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Do you need a motion on this, of how to spend this, or what are we looking for?
Well, real quick too, I was just, so when we had done that regional capture committee quite a few years ago, we did figure out that most of the people that were visiting our particular economic region were down in the cities, or were from like Sioux Falls or from Fargo. So I'll just throw that out there too, if there's areas that previously we know that people are coming from, and most of them are coming, what we kind of figured out is most of them are coming to visit their college kids. So are coming up for hockey games and stuff like that. Those are big event polls. So, I mean, if there's something that we know where there is stuff, I'm just saying that those regional markets may be something that of interest, but they're not going to be people that are looking to buy houses here or anything. They're just really looking to visit. So just throwing that out there. But yeah, do you want a motion on how?
I think this is financial. We have to vote on how we want to do this.
Okay, I'll try my best.
All right,
I'll make a motion to cut the Google Ads campaign line and keep the rest, and adding in another Facebook campaign. And using the rest of the money, the remaining $3,060 that would be left, to go towards the CRM.
I'll second that.
So
Good job, Ben.
Just to clarify too, you want to put $400 into the campaigns for Facebook
Yes.
total? Okay, I just want to make sure I got that right.
Okay. Here goes the roll call vote. Orkin.
Yes.
Pochvinsky.
Yes.
Ault.
Yeah, sorry.
Black.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Stye.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
And then just right below that chart, it talks about Brenda's posts. We were doing 24-hour captures on the data, so they've all outperformed this information. But we're super excited. So if you're a business in town, please look forward to our outreach, because we'll ask for a picture and kind of a synopsis of what you do, and maybe some historical information and how people can reach you. So we just want to take that opportunity, because our Facebook has a huge amount of followers. I want to say it's over 500. So we're able to do some good advertising through that.
So maybe, like, for example, for Zavros, maybe come March, you could, horn in that, and then tell them about employment opportunities. Use that all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
We can do that with other businesses, of course, too.
Yeah.
And then if businesses have something exciting they want to tell us about, or new development, or new service or product line, we will happily share that as well, too. So don't feel stifled to just your one post. We want to definitely uplift and celebrate what we have in the community.
Great.
So the next order of business here is CRM purchase.
Okay, so right below that chart, I broke down the use case of how we would use it. Basically, if I ever got hit in a crosswalk and passed away, you would have all the historical information, the contacts, the deals that were in progress, possibly because there's an option to show like incentives. So it would be just the brain of how economic development works within East Grand Forks. It's very helpful having this, because especially when I stepped into this role, I had no real context of like who we've worked with and like contact numbers, or if somebody was alive when I was emailing them, or different things of that nature. So this would be an ideal tool to have also for generating reports. I would love to be able to calculate economic impact. The EDC of Grand Forks does an amazing job of it. And I would like to also be able to show what the difference is made when a company moves into town or a company hires somebody, how those economic drivers impact East Grand Forks. So we had two contenders. One was $2,000 a year, And then the other one was a HubSpot product called Convergence, and it's kind of broken down into a couple ways. They have the startup fees, so the one-time fee to build it out, which is $6,000, and then the yearly cost of the CRM is $2,340. I've also applied for a grant through a local nonprofit SBA funding source, and that would be a $1,500 grant, which we've gotten it in years past, so I'm hoping that we'll be able to get that and apply it. But I've done that calculation that breaks it down with that reduction. So the first year would be $6,840, and then the following years for the subscription, it would be that $2,340 plus just their $300 service fee, so $2,640. So it is comparable compared to the EDC Forge. The benefits, though, of HubSpot product, it has a lot of options to build on, which they do cost more money, but should we grow, ideally, and we want to offer more features, there's some more tracking abilities that this product has.
Is there any other departments within the city that would be able to benefit from using something like this either? Reed, do you know that at all?
I did not participate in the demo on the convergence model. I did on the EDC side, on the EDC Forge option. I would certainly want access to it and would use it in interface with Maggie, just in the way that the two of us are working together.
Yeah.
Other departments, probably pretty limited.
Okay.
There's maybe potential for Brenda to have some interface with how it interacts with building permits, but I wouldn't, without knowing what it looks like, I wouldn't be able to go out as far as saying that. All the other departments, I don't think at this point would have a use.
Okay. And I guess part of the reason why I only ask that is that if it's something that could be more beneficial to other departments, if there's some cost sharing that we could do within it from other departments' budgets, if they could benefit from this as well. But if it's strictly more for EDA, that's fine. I'm for it.
Yep.
What's your preference?
For me, I was blown away by Convergence. He also offered a website hosting on it too, which I looked at Sandusky County EDC, and their page is amazing. So then I looked at the border cities in Minnesota to see how their EDC pages looked, and it was pretty depressing. So if we have a comparable page to the Sandusky one, or even just a little bit better, and it's hosted through this, that would provide us huge leverage of companies looking to move here, and just kind of demonstrating everything we have available.
Who's building the WordPress site?
Me. I do WordPress and Wix, and I also enjoy it, so. And I plan to be here till I retire.
Good question.
So, for our yoga studio, we have a WordPress site. They're fairly user-friendly.
Yeah.
And it's better than Wix.
Yeah, I don't like Wix. It gives you a little more HTML plugin features with the WordPress one. But if I need help, I will come to you too.
I just look at it that, if we're going to build a website, is it something that we're doing internally, or are we outsourcing that to, some web developer in town here?
I checked with Civic Plus through our IT to see if we had that ability to build out our current one, and we don't have that functionality. If you look at other towns using Civic Plus, it follows that same kind of rigid structure. So they did give the blessing for us to do an external page similar to like what Parks and Rec does in the library. I think it would be a huge opportunity, at least through that Convergence one, where we can basically have like a front door to our business community.
So, just a question on this then. So I just saw I'm looking at the confidentiality stuff. It says the client data is considered and treated as though it's confidential. At the end of the day, if we choose not to have a subscription going forward, if we don't find that there's value in this, that data that we've already inputted and that we already have is still ours, correct?
Yes, actually Ben asked me that question.
Okay, sorry.
So no, you're good. He asked it like a week ago.
Yeah.
You're right on par. So I looked into it. You have, I think, about 30 days to download all of your data off of the program, and then you capture it. If you don't download the information and the reports in that time, you lose it.
So yes, we could get it.
Mm-hmm.
Back to your
Yeah.
original morbid scenario of getting hit by a bus,
Yeah. Stranger things have been known to happen.
I'm all for it. I'll move to do the Convergence by HubSpot, pending council approval, of course.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call. It's Horkin,
Yes.
Pochvinsky,
Yes.
Helms,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Stye.
Yes.
Motion passes. So that'll be pending city council, so we'll get that on the agenda.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
I think, just to interject on that, I'm going to do a quick review of that. The dollar amount is below the dollar amount required for city council approval, so as long as it's an item that's in the EDA budget, it shouldn't need to go to council
Oh, good.
for
Okay.
final action.
That's why I was curious.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll circle back. Maggie and I will circle back and confirm that with everybody after the meeting, but that's my initial reaction, is that on your authority, this can be approved as long as it's a budgetary expense.
Don't disagree with that.
Okay. Great.
Oh, it's good to have the lawyer on the side. Thanks. Next item of business, remaining lots for sale. So it looks like bulk lot sales.
Okay, so there'll be two parts to this. So the first one is, this is carrying over from the last meeting. So we had some people who were interested in buying all the lots and developing them. We had a couple of people who were interested in individual lots. I believe there's 14 lots left. I guess what would be the plan that we want to do with these for the best outcome? I also threw some math in there too. If we assume that the property tax rate was $3,000 per house, which there's some in there that are around that rate, some are around 8,000, some are around 11,000. If you did that over the 2024 to 1998, so the time that we've held it, with the 14 remaining lots, we would have lost $1.092 million of revenue. If you do it just based on an annual amount, it's $42,000 that we're not capturing in tax revenue.
How much are we spending to mow these lots right now?
I think it's,
Every year?
yeah, I think it's $9,000 to mow them annually. And I don't know if we have insurance or anything on them.
That would just be bulk through the city's plan.
Do I remember, didn't we put that back in this developer's hands on him to, or whoever it was, to make an offer to us for all of them? Didn't we do that, or did we not? Did we? It seems to me, I remember we talked about that, but.
I thought that's what we talked about too,
Yeah.
just to see what they were willing to.
What they were willing to pay for them, because we don't, I mean, obviously we have so much money that we probably need to get out of them if we can, but at the same time, I guess I'm all in favor of getting them on the tax roll too, but I think we did. I think that was the last thing that we did with that, was to put
Ask
it back
for
in
an
their
offer.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that would be my question is the bulk lots there, that was, one of them was how much was the offer, but the other part would be is after we sell those bulk lots, is it all of them, or are we still gonna be left with some? Like, how many lots is it actually that they want, I guess? Is it all, or is it some? I'm just curious.
I'm not sure.
The discussion that I had with one individual was, they were interested in an asking price for all of the remaining ready-to-build lots.
Okay. So they want a price from us.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the request, but that's prior to our last meeting. To Mr. Helm's point, and if I'm remembering the discussion at our last meeting too, it was the standing approval from the EDA board is a 10% discount if you buy 4 lots or more, and that we'd be open to an offer if it's not that, for them to come to us with an offer. So, and admittedly, I haven't done anything with that since last month's meeting. So,
Didn't we kind
if
of have
that's
like 3 different scenarios of, with the lots, something going on, if I remember correctly?
Well,
Of somebody that wanted all of them, and some people that were interested in the stuff that wasn't really developed yet?
there's
been
the
a few-
14 buildable,
yeah.
and then there's the big portion, the big lot, I'll call it, across
Right.
from like Jehovah's Witness. And then there's the undeveloped lot that kind of infills the golf course and then on the north side,
The outlot, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there's 3 different
Right.
ideas,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. And they're kind of all separate conversations, and there's been different inquiries from different individuals into each of them. So it's probably easiest to talk about them in separate buckets. The first one being the 14 lots. Is that still the direction?
Because that's the one that you talked with somebody that would like a price from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think we talked about that, and I think that was what we decided to do, was to send that
Yeah.
back to them with the idea that we're doing a 10% discount if you take them all, or, whatever. And then, like you just said, I think we, wanted an offer back from them to what they were thinking, but,
Yeah,
I mean, we might be pretty close, we just
Yeah.
gotta.
I wasn't involved. I think I had a meeting that I couldn't make it to that discussion. And I know I've talked to Reed a couple of different times, and specifically about the residential lots. I think it makes, in my opinion, it makes a big difference on who's buying them, okay? And whoever the developer is. Because there's some developers that are building themselves, and there's some developers that are not. Right? They're divvying up the lots, and then they're turning around and trying to sell each individual lot so somebody will do a stick build. And I think at least for the purposes of the residential lots or the bulk sales that we have, you'd almost want somebody that's going to build themselves and sell them off instead of just resell, looking for, doing what we're doing right now.
Right.
Looking to sell. And that would be my only 2 cents that I'd put in about that. Because otherwise you could just still have all of these lots sitting out there empty, just waiting like we're doing right now.
Sold at a big discount.
Huh?
Sold at
a big
Right,
discount,
right.
so
With
if
no
you had,
tax
if you
and
had
everything,
one or two or whomever, but if you had a development company or a construction company that's willing to take them on, and then you give them a time frame, and they turn around and they build spec houses on these for sale, then you know that they're going to get sold, and you know that people are going to be sitting there, as opposed to just having another empty lot out there and giving them the opportunity to sell it to somebody else for a discounted price.
So as part of their proposal, could you just ask for their plan too?
In our covenants out there already, is there a requirement to build within like 2 years or something right now? There's not. But I don't think
It's-
if there was, we could enforce it anyways, right?
Right. Historically, that's been part of our purchase agreement.
Okay.
When we've sold the lots, when the EDA sold the lots to an individual, there's been a timeline to build. But in recent history, now the last 2 years, let's say, we've waived that. The EDA has waived that timeline requirement.
We could include that.
Yeah.
It wasn't to build, it was, if I recall correctly, it was certificate of occupancy that we required within 2 years, is what I thought it was.
Could be. I don't know that for certain.
Because
Yeah.
I think we ran into some issues, and that was the question I think you actually asked it. Like, how do we enforce this? What do we do? So, because there wasn't a lot that we could do about it.
I think the other thing we want to do too is if we were to sell these all to one individual, I think we need to make sure that it's very clear that once they're sold, we don't get them back. We don't want to run into that problem like we had before. If once they buy them, they're theirs, and they're going to do something with them. We're out of the picture type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
Right.
I really think we need to state that.
I was just
clear.
going to say, I don't mind on the bulk sales, but I'd like a plan to come with it. And then the other part is, with that plan and that proposal, I'd like a discussion of, closing costs and everything else, and how much that's going to cost us as well. Because maybe there is some negotiation that we could do on that portion if we're selling in bulk as well.
Because I think even if we sell them all at 10% discount, we're still losing money even at that.
Right.
They're pretty much priced at break even right now.
And that's, yep.
It just depends how you look at it.
Right.
If you want to add the tax roll back
Right.
in 3 years, you can surmise whatever
Well,
you want out of it. I'd rather get rid of them.
And I agree with you on that, and adding them back to the tax roll, and I think that's the reason why it is at break even right now. And if we were to discount them any further, and then that's why I think it would be important to have a plan that comes along with that, so that we know that there is an investment future and there's some sort of return that will eventually happen to get them off the city payroll and to get the houses built.
Not
They
to sell
get
them for
them
a
on the
discount and
tax.
sit for another 7 years. and
Right.
It
Right.
doesn't go on the tax rolls.
Although I do like the idea of not having to discuss lots anymore at these meetings.
And that's an important one, to your point, Daniel, to keep in mind, is just pointing back to the strategic plan, right? And that's one of the top priorities of this group coming out of that plan is to accelerate getting out of the home lot ownership as quickly as possible.
And I would
So if there's a reason to entertain a potential discount, to me, that's it. It's a stated goal of ours to be done with that part of the operation of our EDA.
I think all of us are on board with a discount, without giving them away.
Yeah.
And that's where I think if there has been like multiple developers in different areas that you guys have both talked to, I think, maybe I'm speaking ahead of myself for everybody here, but we'd probably like to see, maybe reach out to all of them and get plans for all of them and even ask them to throw an offer out there at us. Kind of show them, okay, here's the total value of all those lots right now with the current 10% discount. Here's where we're at. What are you thinking? You know, they might come in and say, even with the 10% discount, it doesn't make sense. We can't make it work. Okay, then you tell us then. Because I don't think any of us are just going to say, oh, 50% off of that and let's get rid of it.
Right.
But we're probably willing to work within reason.
Well, and I think we've done a pretty good job too in the last couple of years of selling more and more lots as well. So it's not like it's going faster than when I first started with the EDA board. So it's been getting progressively better. So I'm not against entertaining that. I guess, so do we want to just leave it with, we'd like some more information from them, we'd like an offer from them, and we'd like a plan to go with it?
So, yeah, we could table item 1, which is the remaining Water's Edge lots, then we gotta talk about the Ault lots, I suppose. Right,
Yep.
Reed, that would be the next thing to.
Yeah, that'd be the other part of it. I think Maggie and I would maybe seek some of that same direction on the outlots. Is do we want to organize a request for proposal from potential purchasers, developers, of how they would organize a development in any of those outlots, what they would use it for, any elements that you all think would be important to include in a proposal, an RFP like that. That could be, how many homes do you think you could fit in the outlots? What would the design look like? Square footage, timeline to build, anything along those lines, I guess, are the things that are in my mind. But if there's anything else that we're missing.
I think with the outlots, is it more important to start with trying to find out if there's anybody even interested? Because I'm guessing to put a design together and, maybe something that they've got to come with a blueprint of a design of how many houses they can fit and how it would all look is going to cost them money.
Mm-hmm.
And are we going to get anybody that's willing to put that effort into paying to show us something?
Has there been interest in the outlots?
Yes, there's one person who was interested. They did not have pinpoint formal plans. They said they would like to build some houses on it.
And I guess my other question too on that with the outlots, just with that, they should probably be talking to Nancy or somebody to make sure that whatever plan they come up with meets all the guidelines.
Yeah, that process would need to move in sync with an RFP on a potential acquisition.
What's the difference in the outlots and the residential lots? Why are they called outlots?
They don't have any sewer water.
Yeah.
Or they
okay.
have
That's what the-
partial, or they,
Yeah.
you couldn't just go build a house right now.
Okay.
They don't
Okay,
have
that's
service,
what- that's what I was-
basically.
Yeah,
right?
it's just an unplatted property.
Okay.
It's city owned. To Ben's point, there are some wastewater, stormwater infrastructure there that was put in at the same time the Water's Edge development was built.
Okay.
But yeah, it is not ready for a residential build.
Gotcha.
Where the Water's Edge, the previous conversation, those are the 14 lots that you could go put a shovel in the ground tomorrow if you have a permit to do it.
Basically, the north side of the golf course, there's an easement there that's
Yeah.
a couple hundred feet wide, and then it's the inside kind of piece of the golf course right off of River Road. There's a pretty good chunk of land
Yeah,
inside there.
you're right.
It's those two parcels, basically.
Yep, I know what you're talking, yep.
If we have one person in there, whatever you guys feel, but I would say that they probably need to talk with Nancy, figure out what they can actually come up with. I'm not against that idea if somebody is truly interested in it, but it's not ready to build right now. So I don't know what it would even.
Reed, are you thinking along the lines of having this put out for bid? Like put a RFP out there for people to bid on it to us to
Yeah.
just get rid of it?
Yeah, that's the question to the group is to consider is, do we want to put an RFP together that we would put out publicly for potential interested purchasers, developers to submit proposals to us, right? And then that could be handled a couple of ways. We could, one, just set it up, put it out for proposals to get an open idea of how people may plan to use the property or how to develop it. It could include a sealed bid as part of it with the price to purchase from us. Or we could just take that, take it and use it as information to understand the interest and how it might get developed when it's ready to.
Almost needs to have, Woodseth needs to come up with,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of unknowns to those parcels right now that
right.
even a general developer can't just walk up there and say, oh, this is easy, I'll just put a bunch of houses here. I mean,
Right.
That's my concern.
Can the
is-
sanitary handle it? There's a lot of
Yep.
infrastructure, I think, potential issues with,
A lot of cost.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These
it's been discussed at the water and light meetings also, to get those services there, so it is on the radar.
Would you guys, would there be, do you guys have time and staff to work with some of this stuff if we were to go that direction? I mean, is this something that you feel like the city can support? That you have people for? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
want to throw more on there than what can be developed. That's not the intention by any
Right.
means. I think it's a good thing if we have one person interested. Maybe there would be other people interested if there's more information. It'd be worth having the info.
Yeah. I mean, do we have the time capacity to do it? Yes, but I'd preface that with that it's kind of it's a mid to long term range type project. It's, we don't have the time capacity to in 3 months come back to you with a report. But that said, when you look at available space, once these remaining 14 lots are filled, it's one of the top 2, maybe 3 unplatted pieces of property in our community that is going to be the next natural place for homes to be built. So it has to be on our horizon in the mid to short term, I would say.
Yep.
At the current pace that our Water's Edge lots are being sold and built, we're probably 3 to 4 years out from those lots all being sold and built on. Just at the current rate we've been on the last 3 years. So that's a timeline horizon of how long we are out from needing to determine between either a city-owned land or privately owned land what the next residential development in the community looks like.
These outlots are zoned commercial already, right? I mean,
Zoned residential.
or residential,
Yes.
I mean, not commercial.
Yeah.
Residential is what I meant to say, yeah.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure that that's what it was right now, yeah. So.
I mean, I guess I would be all for investigating kind of, I guess I don't have enough information to say, go and sell them at this point in time. I would need more information and what needs to be done to them, and I think it's worth collecting. I mean, I guess I don't expect a report in 3 months. It'd be nice if we could get something together and discuss it maybe August-ish, maybe end of the year. I mean, depending on what you need. I don't know if anybody really knows what entails in finding about all this stuff until you guys actually start looking into it. Maybe just an update, maybe this summer, if that would be acceptable. Somewhere along the lines of just like, this is where we're at, these are the issues that we've run into, and if there's something that the board can help with, or information or guidance that you would need from us based on the information that you've already collected, I think that would be something worth doing.
The only thing I think that Woodseth they could offer for info on it was just the infrastructure cost, so we would also have to kind of figure out the cost to get it ready to be shovel ready.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's where I would maybe have some hesitation as the question goes back to where do the roles and responsibilities of that lie, right? We have the person that is inquired, let's just for simplicity's sake, they inquired about the cost of the raw land as it is today. And are we interested in selling it as raw land, or are we as the city and EDA taking the steps to start it down the path of a residential development. And then after we have all of the plats put together, now we're looking to sell it similar to as we are the Water's Edge, right? That's kind of the question. There are, in all likelihood, developers or potential purchasers that may just want to buy it as raw land. And then it's their process to own it and follow the development process and structure that's in place to come to the city with all the design and follow the steps.
I think you'll
As
have
they
more
would.
success that way.
Right.
And
And
then
we're
we'll have to talk about it for another 2 years about.
I would be for if we've got somebody to purchase it as raw land, that we proceed with it then.
Framing it that way,
I mean,
agree.
if they're gonna end up building houses on it and that's what they wanna buy it for, like you said, eventually they're gonna have to bring a plan to the city.
Correct.
With what they're gonna do with it. If they think it's just a good investment for them right now, so be it. I mean,
And I guess that's the probably ultimate concern or, I guess, question to everybody is, are you okay if that land just sits then? I am.
that's all it's doing right now.
So.
Yeah.
And I don't think we wanna put the cost into the infrastructure to get it shovel ready to sell it as lots again.
Right.
I mean, we're
No.
trying to get out of the lot business, and I guess I'm all for if somebody wants it as raw land, that, do we really, how much information or direction do you need from us to be able to bring that toward to somebody to do it? I mean, we don't need much, do we?
Well, you know that you've already spent about $600,000.
Yeah.
So that, they would be buying that. They'd
Yeah, I
be
guess that
buying
would be
those
my
specials.
question, is if it was just raw land, are we just considering it raw land without any of the infrastructure that's already been put into it?
No, they'd have to pay the special.
Because they can't
That
put
would be-
infrastructure in until they bring a plan to the city that the city approves anyways.
Right, I'm just making sure that we can somewhat, we recognize that there's already been an investment into that property and we recover said investment is my take on it.
You could, everything that's there, that investment that's there is traditionally special assessed to a property. So there is a process we could follow to carry that as separate from the land sale and have it be special assessed. But I do preface and pause on that, understand some of that infrastructure that's there is nearing 20 years old already. So now, if let's just hypothetically say we're still 5 years away from homes being built, they could potentially be going into special assessments on infrastructure that's already 25 years old. That could pose an issue. So there may be, it's a chicken and an egg type of thing where it's advantageous to the potential developer to have it be special assessed, but on the other side of it, to the person that's going to end up as the homeowner, do they want a 25-year or 20-year special assessment on infrastructure that's already 20 years old? That's one of the weird dynamics of this, with what's there, the wastewater stuff that was put in the early 2000s. It makes it a little bit difficult.
So the city right now they don't have any plans of like streets or anything like that in them outlots?
No.
Nothing. They're just the bare land, like you said.
Yeah.
The utilities are installed basically to keep going straight north.
Straight
There's
north.
that road that comes to a kind of a dead end out
Sure.
there.
Yep.
You could take that straight north to the barrier and there's utility services for both of those. There's no water up there, but there's
Yeah.
sanitary.
There's a lift station on the north
Yep.
end there.
Yep.
Just goes to that lift
Goes to
station.
that north barrier.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are your feelings on, would you like to take this forward to the person that's inquired as just the bare land and proceed with it?
I don't know that I think I'm still probably learning enough about it to be able to give you a strong opinion on that one way or another. I don't know that I have all of the history and the knowledge to say yes or no to that question, Justin.
Okay. I mean, the only reason I ask that is because like Ben said too, do we really care if somebody buys it and it still sits empty for a while? I don't.
Right. Yeah.
I don't either. Let's get rid of it and let it be their problem then.
Right.
If they want to end up developing it, then come forward to the city with a plan for your infrastructure and your plot, and
Yeah.
then let's go.
Yeah, they can mow it and keep the weeds down and stuff instead of the city.
I agree with that too as well. I just, now, given the added piece of information that infrastructure is 20, 25 years old, like that's the other part too, I guess, is like you said, I don't know enough about the history to know how, like, where would we need to price this at? Would it just be the price of the raw land? Like, that would be something I would be interested in knowing, like, as you dig into this, what your opinion on that would be. I mean, I would value that going forward.
Okay, yeah.
Do we know how many acres there is there about?
Off the top of my head, I could find that for you.
I'm just curious if anybody.
Yeah.
Let the developer resell that land, say 10 years down the road if they decide they don't want it, or do they?
Absolutely.
I say it doesn't come back to the city.
Yeah, same thing, is you buy it, it's yours,
I think to your question, it's a good question, Ben. I think to your point, that's in my mind one of the things that in considering a potential sale of it, I would want to request information from the bidders on how they plan to use it, right?
I don't think I'd want to sell it to someone that is just going to purchase it to sit on it and then sell it for a profit, a decade later.
Right. Yeah, and maybe that's where you include some of that, is if there's a certain timeline, there's a provision that if nothing happens with it in 15 years, the city has the option to buy it back, or you can get into those things if we needed to, right? Yeah. But not that we want to, but that would be important for me to understand, I think, and for the council ultimately to understand, is if we're considering a sale, what are we thinking it's going to be used for? Yeah.
I guess I would still go back to then, I would say, if this can be investigated and some more information can be gathered and brought forward to us on, things about the current existing structure, age of that, kind of what the plan would be if we can reach out to the developer, get some of that information.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, and it doesn't have to be fast, because like you just said, we're not going to be probably seeing this land for 3 years because we still have other lots to sell. So, but I think it's worth checking into.
I think it's definitely a concern, like what you brought up, Ben, but I don't know that a developer's really gonna come in to buy that land and think that they're gonna make money on it in a decade. If they look at how long it's taken 27 years to develop what we had, and I don't know the developer that's coming in to look to buy something that's gonna take a 30-year return on their money.
Right.
So I do believe that if we do put something out there and somebody's interested in it, they obviously have a plan for probably within the next 5 to 8 years.
Right, I would just want to make sure that whoever we're selling it to is serious about developing that land and understanding that we want to see them develop it as soon as possible. Yeah. And, if we're going to be out of our lots within 3 to 4 years, now is probably the time to sell it to a developer, because it's going to take them 3 to 4 years to come up with that plan and, get all that approved by the city before it's ready to start being built on.
Yep.
And if we choose to, I'd rather it be an option to buy it back, not we have to buy it back.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I want that to be, I want some wiggle room.
Right, I almost feel like it would be a, right of first refusal, that if they decide to sell it, if they haven't done anything on it in 10 years, and then in 10 years they decide to sell it, whoever comes in to buy it, whatever that contract is, then the city should get the option that says, we'd like to buy it at that.
I like that. I think right of first refusal would be something that we would probably be interested in, just because we don't know where things may set out in 10 years. I think that's a good call. It's a great point, Ben.
Got enough to go on, Reed?
Plenty.
Yep. That's good.
More than you wanted.
Okay, good.
All right, next one here is the Varnished lot updates on unfinished business. Do we have an update on that?
I can start it off and then Reed can fill in the potholes here.
Can you just fill me in, what is this?
The Varnish lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can. We had a Varnish, Mr. Varnish signed a purchase order, I believe, maybe 4 years ago,
Yeah.
roughly, on a lot on the south end of town, city-owned lot. There was a SBA, there was a problem with the lot lines. In order to change those lot lines, legal description, Ron would probably say it better than this, but it was tied up in an SBA loan, the next door neighbor property, so he was unable to do the legal work without that being figured out. So Mr. Vonish has not been able to close on this lot for a long time. They are currently using that lot, kind of with the general understanding that there was some earnest money put down and stuff, but obviously the landscape of finances has significantly shifted in interest rates and a lot of other things in 4+ years. So it still is hanging out there. And when it does get resolved, I think we need to strongly consider changing the purchase price of that lot to make up for something that wasn't disclosed before they tried to purchase said lot. That's my opinion.
And to be fair too, we were unaware of
No one was unaware until it tried to close.
Yeah, everybody was unaware of the situation
Right.
until this came up with the SBA loan and this property line issue, so.
And SBA's not in a hurry,
Ever.
is from my understanding.
Yeah,
And so,
It's been
yeah,
satisfied
so
now.
that's the update, is we do have the lien release on the neighbor that finalized their mortgage through the SBA. So we have the release. It has not been recorded with the county yet. That's the next step that has to happen, is that the release needs to be recorded. And then once that takes place, then Mr. Vonish is still interested in buying the lot. We could go through the closing and settlement with him to close in.
So,
Yeah,
that's
so it's
the update,
it's close.
basically.
That's the update as it stands today is the original lien release we need to get a copy of so that we can get it recorded at the county. Yeah.
So it's on our agenda because it kind of got shuffled away from, I think, kind of the push. So we're just going to maintain it on our agenda until it gets taken care of.
Right.
Well, that's up for discussion,
Yeah.
I guess.
Right. Yeah. That, and I don't know enough to say what. There hasn't been a recommendation. Maggie and I haven't discussed anything on that matter on what the agreed purchase price was at the time. Haven't dug into that so far. We've been focusing our effort on trying to make sure we can get this lien released. Yeah. So we have some progress since last month at least. And we'll have to just come together with the details, and if there's a recommendation on a renegotiated purchase price, we'll bring that forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Vonishes have been quite patient, actually, for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
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 And the only thing, not to speak in favor or against any recommendation, but Ben said it, and I would just reiterate it, is remember that there has been use of the lot. There's storage sheds on the lot, activity being used there for all of those years.
Yep.
Certainly not to the full desire or intent. I'm sure 4 years later or whatever it is, but that should hold some value too when we start figuring out how we're going to make this work for everybody.
Yeah, they've been keeping it mowed too, though, so.
Yeah.
There's no house built though, so
Yeah.
that's not on the taxes either.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
all right. Moving on to new business then. The first one here, Bush Foundation Ideas Grant.
Okay, hopefully everyone is bubbling with ideas for this grant proposal that I would like to send off. Brian, who was on our board, had an awesome idea. It was using the money for the industrial park acquisition and developing the ag economy to support domestic farm production, potentially even having incubator space for entrepreneurs. I love it, but they only give you $160,000 to be broken out over 3 years. So unless we're going to get a heck of a discount, I feel like we might need to shrink that to be maybe more tailored to something specific for that. Maybe it's something like we get an ag incubator or we form a partnership, but maybe one piece of that instead of like the whole project. So, and if there's other things too, if you think maybe it should be something that should be used for childcare or development of entrepreneurs.
How about, is there anything that we can piggyback off of on this new potato processing plant that's coming to town? Coming to Grand Forks? I don't know too much about it, but I'm wondering, is there anything that we can piggyback off that's secondary business towards that you can look into a little bit maybe?
Also, like recruiting another company to come in
Well, if there's, I mean, besides just farmers that are gonna provide potatoes for that plant, is there something else that can piggyback off that? I guess I haven't read too much exactly what they do or what they're gonna process or what's going on with that, but it seems like it's gonna be a big project that, what can we do in our community that can help that business potentially? I mean, is that something that we can look into that maybe some of that grant money can go towards is, hey, we know that they also need this type of business to support them that we can try bring in over here? Like I said, I don't know too much about them or what they're gonna do, but
I think
That's a good idea.
maybe in a couple more weeks, I'll say, we might be able to have a little better answer on that because Maggie and I are going to meet with Gary over at the Potato Research. We're going to go meet with him and talk to him, and he's very involved in potato research on this project.
Sure.
And I had a chat with him one day already and said the same thing you did, basically, that there might be a lot of stuff that we can piggyback off this whole thing they're going to need a lot of stuff. They're going to need a lot of storage. They're going to need a lot of stuff coming into it. So, but when we meet with him, I think we'll get some more answers on some of that stuff like that.
But is that
If
too late?
that would,
Yeah, it's due 30th, I want to say.
Okay.
Can we use it, can we use that grant money at all for like developing workforce or anything along those lines and piggyback off of maybe some things with the college that's already there, since it's not a lot of money, but it's over 3 years?
Yeah.
Like something maybe over here at the tech school, if there's something specific, I mean, you know, some sort of electrical or something along those lines. I mean, if it's a plant, working in a plant for the last decade, there's a lot of different systems and equipment that go into play that kind of cross disciplines. So I don't know if that would be something. And I mean, there's other businesses that can use it. Obviously, American Crystal could use something like that too. You know, I'm sure Simplot has a lot of things like that, but maybe something along those lines, or even maybe like a bridge program to introduce high school students to some of these jobs that are going to be coming into the community to keep some of the kids local. And maybe with the school system, if they have something that we could help out with.
Well, they have the Wave Foundation. I mean, would you be able to
Would
this
we be
money
able to
to-
support something with them?
to buy some equipment or something?
And then just on the other side of stuff too, I know, I just read about the grant that was given to the afterwave childcare for East Grand Forks. I don't know if there's something that, there's an idea there, because childcare is still one of those things that does keep some of our people at home that could be potentially in the workforce. Or they're working limited hours because they need to be home to take care of their kids. So if that's something else, maybe we could explore with that. I mean, those are just a few ideas.
Yeah, those sound good. I put those down. We can definitely ask. I think that'll be easier if it's something more focused and smaller. I'm just worried if we say we're trying to develop an industrial park, they're gonna say, you need to have other capital stacked, or you need to have other partnerships, and given that the due date for this ask is coming up, these ones seem a little more attainable. I do know that this college, or the high school, somebody told me on a visit that their, like, area where you learn how to use trade stuff, shop, for lack of a better word, is from like 60 years ago. So I don't know if there's an opportunity to partner with them and get them the right equipment, tools they need, so they can train their kids to be future
Yeah.
employees.
Yeah.
And I would even say, you know, reaching out to some of the businesses that maybe, some of the trade businesses that could help maybe direct in the right direction on what that equipment might cost.
Okay.
You know, I have to ask Josh what, you know, kind of stuff maybe for kids that are interested in being an electrician, what kind of tools and stuff should we have in that program for them?
Or even, you know, at the senior high, they have that Wave Academy that they've started, to see if there's things that the Wave Academy could use, that they're trying to build on that this grant could help out with.
Okay. It's very helpful.
I suppose this grant, if you apply for it, you have to use it for what you told them, right?
Yes.
So you got to make sure you know what.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to make sure, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, if you ask for 160 for the industrial park and you only used, you know, 100 of that, used the other 60 on some of this other stuff we're talking about, that's why it's hard, but I think, yeah.
But I mean, generally though, I mean, sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you start small with grants and you show success, I mean, there are larger grants out there that we may apply for later, and if we can show that we have successfully used that grant money, it does incline people to give us more money
Right.
later on, and those could be bigger things that could lead to that. So I mean, this is a
Absolutely right.
buildings, yeah. One point in time, I wanted to be a professor and do this stuff.
Bush Foundation has private project-related investments that they do, which are capitalists. They've done ones up to $8 million. So my hope is that if we can do a small one, we can get our little foot in the door, then we can justify ourselves that they may see we can do other bigger things.
Sure. Okay.
Next one, anything else on that grant? Sorry. Okay, moving on to the next one, the Forks Home Show event. I assume we have dates for that.
Yeah, and I hope it worked. I scheduled an email to deliver the information about the event to be delivered during this meeting. So ideally, you'll get back to your desk and you'll see the sign-up genius, so you can put down what time you want to attend it and the link for registering. We're going to have a couple different little like tchotchkes and stuff at our table. We're going to be there with water and light, so it should be a good event.
So look for an email, sign up for a time, please.
And when is it and where?
It is March 29th and 30th at the Purpur Arena, which is next to Starbucks on the corner. And on Saturday, I believe it goes from like 8 to 6, and then Sunday's like 10 to 4 or something.
Okay. Next item here, town hall for EDA. Dale, do you want to talk about this now?
Yeah, I was, first of all, Maggie had come out and sit and visited with me for a while, and we had a nice chat and talked about a lot of different things, and just want to throw a little plug in for her there. I've talked to a lot of other people in town that she's been to see, and they're just excited that we're out there on the street and doing things, so thank you for that. So, but what I was thinking about was do a town hall to inform businesses and people that maybe want to move into town as with a business on what kind of funding we have, where we can help them, what we can do. And I thought, and then as we were sitting here talking about all this other stuff, I thought it'd be a good time to, if we could have I would say, I'd call it pictures or posters of like our lots that we have for sale and some of the empty buildings around, and and even Penny, if you've got some empty space to rent out, those kind of things. So we had all that stuff there. So if there was people coming in and wanted to move into town, they would know what would be available for them. And so I thought if we could just do a town hall type thing, and if we did it, we just had to figure out when to do it. If it was an evening or a weekend or what, and have it at, we could hold it at the Fairfield Inn in their room or somewhere, or if somebody else has a room available. Someplace, I'd like to get someplace where there's, like plenty of parking for people so they could show up. But I'd make it, send out notices to all the businesses and everything, and just so everybody knows about it, and just see where we can go with that, if it would help or not. Just an idea if it's something that would work or not. That's.
I don't have a problem with it. Who would you imagine be? I imagine we'd want Maggie involved, of course.
Oh yeah.
Probably Josh as well.
Yeah, and any of the board members that would want to show up and talk and visit with people or whatever, and.
Would we want to reach out to Barry with the chamber to be there at all, or?
Probably.
Okay. I mean, I'm just trying to think of.
Yeah.
I like the idea. I don't know what time may necessarily work, because I know, as you pointed out, we got a lot of small business owners, and they spend a lot of time, somebody calls in or something. And
Well, there's a lot of business owners, a lot of small ones in this city that people don't even know are there.
Yeah.
And when she was out to see me, I pointed out a few of them just around my area that's kind of moved in there that nobody even knows are there. So that would just be a good way to get their word out to people and everybody too, to let them know that they were around and that type of thing. So
We could probably include even the small business development and SCORE. So then there would be resources for the businesses there if they needed that, or if they wanted to expand, or even new
Exactly.
businesses.
And that was kind of the whole thing, all the programs and everything. I mean, we could even put it out to the surrounding areas if, there might be somebody in Crookston looking to come this way for something,
Yeah,
or vice versa.
That's kind of what I was thinking. That's
You
why
know.
I'm thinking, what resources do we need to have there for these people if they are interested? Like, it would help to have, I'm not saying that these people, that we're gonna be able to get everybody there, but
Right.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because I know not everybody can make it to our EDA meetings at noon. So it'd kind of give them an opportunity to come and meet some people, talk to some people, and I like the idea.
Yeah, but I think if we could have pictures of some of these empty buildings around and stuff that's, so people know what we have sitting here empty that they could move into and go, just an idea, and we could talk a little more. I mean, it's getting late now. We've been here quite a while, but we can talk a little more on it. I just want to throw it out there to.
I like all you guys, so that's all. Okay. Yeah, I mean, what resources do you need from us to get a town hall meeting going would be my question. Or do you know the resources that you would need?
Probably need to advertise and invite, so we tap into our networks. We would need to lock down a room, so if somebody wants to take care of that, or if you want me to do it. Do we want food? Do we not want food? And then I guess establishing the best time of day to do it.
I would ask, do we want to create a subcommittee for this? To kind of work out some of the details rather than trying to do it in a full meeting like this? Maybe where some emails can go around to people?
Good.
Would that help you?
Yeah.
I mean, because if it is, I'd like to see, Dale, I'd like to see you on it. And I don't know if you have the time or.
Sometimes. a little busy.
'Cause
It would be interesting. I mean, again, it's location. For me, a lot of times it's time. People are working and stuff like that. So if you want to get some of the smaller businesses there, we would kind of. I'm not sure it might be 6 o'clock. It's not in the time frame of normal working people. It's
Right.
not we're at work. And so it's usually a little bit later. It could be like 5:30 or 6 or whatever. A lot of have families, a lot of things going on. So I don't have the perfect answer, but I think it would be something interesting. But it's also placement too. It can, holidays kind of play and different seasons and stuff. You want to have a barbecue. You want to have it outside and have a barbecue or what, Yeah. It's just like, I'm just saying, it's like there's a lot of options there. And so, yeah, I'd be interested in talking about it more. Maybe not today, but at another time.
Yeah, leave it, table it, and
Table.
unfinished business, and we can bring it up.
Committee and
Yeah.
have you guys.
Yeah, it's not something that's got to happen tomorrow by no means,
Yeah.
just one to.
Well,
Right.
that's what it sounds like.
We
but
got time
I
to
like the
put
idea.
something together, and let's just put on a nice town hall show,
Yeah.
show our city off, show them, kind of like what they do with the, down there with.
Showcase.
Yeah, like the city showcase, basically, type thing, Paul's always been there for that, but, he really doesn't have anything there. He's just got a table there and he's there, So if we had something that, people like to see things and,
I agree.
so. Yeah, we can table that and we can just kind of keep it on or maybe we can put it back on. Maybe we can get, like I said, get the committee together and then talk about some things and then throw it back on the agenda on what we were thinking or looking and whatever.
If anybody has any other ideas of people that should be, because we're allowed to have 3, it's no more than 3 people, I think, before it becomes a quorum, is that?
Well, for the committee maybe, but
Yeah, for the committee.
I would definitely like the whole support of the EDA and everybody as much as we could get there
And
to
I'm all for it,
help
and
matters.
you have my
So,
support,
yeah.
and I'll help out in any way that I can. So I just think working out all the details and everything will be a lot easier to do than trying to do it during a meeting.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Perfect.
Anything else on that? Seeing nothing. Next one here, Child Care Committee update.
I'm trying to be super fast on this because I know we're short on time. But I just wanted to give you an update. The Child Care Committee does exist and we're still working super hard. I made a SharePoint page so it kind of collaborates all of the meeting notes, grant reports, different trainings that are coming up, our goals, the house for everything that's going on with the Child Care Committee. So instead of trying to piece their emails, it's all in one spot. And we've moved our meetings from being in the evening as it seemed that the providers weren't really attending it. So the Daycare Association through Polk County is going to reform and the Likely the providers will join into that. And then the non-providers will be meeting on the third Thursday at 10 in the morning. So that has been going really well. We've also added in a feature to record our meetings, so that way if some of the providers want to take a peek at what we're talking about or to hear about some of the resources or learn a little more, they can check back on the recording. So it's going super well, and we've gotten most notably $2,000 from Mendon Hall Presbyterian Church. So if you see them, give them a high five. They just donated $2,000 to the Child Care Fund to serve as the re-grant. So we need to get it up to $5,000. And we're super close. We're just a few $100s away. So that's why I included that little donation sheet in the back if you know somebody or if you want to personally donate. It will help develop the fund, which we will then give grants back to the community to providers to help with training, certifications, licensures, educational toys and books. And then if there's anything special we need, we can also help with that. Also, most notably, part of the EDA will be part of the grants review board for this fund. So there'll be a couple people from this board that will work with the child care group to then issue the grants, because we will act as the pass-through agent from Minnesota Foundation. Any questions?
One more thing, though, on that form there also is a place to donate for the annual appreciation for the child care providers, and we have had people even in this group that have helped with that, and we will continue to do that again this year. It's done in April, the Week of the Child, National Week of the Child, and so it's Monday, I think it's April 5th, if that's a Monday, or the 7th. So if anybody wants to donate to help fund that, that would be, we serve a meal for the child care providers. We do some door prizes for them. We're having a comedian this year. Last year we had a speaker come in and they did a little exercise with books and stuff. So if anybody's willing to donate to that, we'd appreciate that also.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
We need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
This is what happens when we don't have a meeting for a while. We get to go longer.
Yes.
I'll move. Oh, I'll second, whatever.
Justin,
We're done.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
No.
Yeah, okay.